So, you have moved to a new city and are looking for a place to live in, maybe a flat, but you are unaware of what the 20-30 page agreement will contain and that you will have to sign before you enter your flat. So, to help you out against brokers who will try to fool you and take a large amount of money from you, and against the landlords who will try to take advantage of you, of your ignorance, and take an upper hand in the rental agreement, we will help you with the basics of a rental agreement. So let us begin. Let us see what are the types of rental agreements. There are two basic types of a rental agreement. One is the lease and the other one is the leave and license agreement. Lease is where you pay a fixed amount of money to the landlord on a yearly basis, and he lets you the property as if it were your own. This is a more popular in commercial rental properties. What you will be facing in 99% of the cases will be the leave and license agreement. So let us take a look at what it. The leave and license agreement is the most popular type of agreement that you will come across. Let us see what all clauses are there in this type of agreement. First one is find out who the actual owner is. Finding out who the actual owner is the first and foremost step towards signing any agreement. You don't want to sign an agreement with a fake owner one day and get kicked out of your house the next day by the real owner on the grounds of trespassing. So it is very important step, and you should check for any documents of authenticity of the real owner. Make sure you sign the agreement with the real owner only. Next comes the term of agreement. This is the duration for which the agreement will be valid. It can be in years or months. For a leave and license agreement, 11 months is a desirable period. So most of the agreements will contain this duration of 11 months. Very important, this will decide upon the rest of the clauses like raise in rent, etc. So you must check the term of agreement before signing any agreement. Next comes the termination clause and notice period. So your landlord is not at all happy with you. You are making the society a chaotic place to live in, or for any other reason he wants to terminate the agreement and kick you out of the house. So you will have to invoke the termination clause and ask for a notice period. A notice period may be from 2 weeks to a few days. This is given to you to find out a new home to live in, so that you don't have to spend a lot on hotels and everything, and you can get a new place in these notice period days. Next comes in the lock-in clause. This clause protects the landlord from losing money if you choose to vacate the house before the completion of the duration mentioned in the agreement. So even if you leave the house before the agreement completion, you will have to pay the complete rent for the complete duration. So the landlord is happy. Next is the payment clause. It will decide the mode and date of payment. Also, if the payment will be quarterly or monthly or yearly. These will be the deciding factors in the payment clause. So please read it before you sign the agreement and check the date of the month on which date you will have to pay the payment to the landlord. Next is the increase in rent clause. This is a very important clause at it will decide how much will the rent increase over a period of time. You must check out for figures like 10 to 15% increase over a period of 3 to 4 months. So that is about the increase in rent clause. Also, if the landlord tries to tell you that he will increase the price on the basis of the market prices, then he's trying to fool you and you should refrain from such agreements. Guarantor clause. A guarantor is someone who will pay your rent in case you are unable to pay to the landlord for that month. So you will have to name a guarantor, name a person who will make sure to give the rent to the landlord. Maintenance association charge clause. If you are having an apartment in a society or an association maintained building, then you will have to pay some extra charges as you will become the part of that society or building. In that case, you will have to pay some association charge that should be mentioned in the association charge clause. Also the maintenance. The maintenance has to be made clear in the agreement that who will bear the maintenance charges, or are they included in the rent? Yes or no? Will there be any extra charges other than the rent? Yes or no? You should check out for these conditions. Next is the wear and tear clause. For a short duration, this can be overlooked. Short duration meaning a couple of months or so. But for a long duration, the landlord may ask you for the wear and tear charges. So you should mention in the agreement that how much you are willing to pay against these wear and tear charges. Next is the furniture and fixtures. If you are renting a furnished flat, then you will have to look whether they are in good condition or not. If not, the landlord should repair them and bring them to workable condition, and this should be mentioned in the agreement. So if you are having a flat that has broken furniture, you should report to the landlord to fix them and mention it in the agreement. Next comes the clause of associated facilities and amenities. If your society has a gym or a pool or a clubhouse, then you will need access to them, and these facilities may have some access fees. So you have to make sure whether the rent contains the fees or not, or you will have to pay the extra money to use these facilities. Next comes the security deposit clause. This is a very important clause. Security deposit is decided beforehand and returned to you after the completion of the duration of agreement. The landlord may deduct some amount if the house is having some abnormal wear and tear. So if you have broken something huge like a window pane or something, then the security deposit amount might be deducted before being returned to you. Next is the repair work during occupancy. If there are small repair work that do not require much of financial and manual labor, then you will have to do them by yourself. However, if there is something that requires huge financial help, then the landlord should bear it. That is about the repair work during occupancy. Next comes the dispute resolution clause. If you and your landlord get into a dispute on some issue, then this clause will come in handy. Please read this clause beforehand carefully, as this clause is what will decide what will be the outcome of so and so dispute for you. The landlord might try to take an upper hand and kick you out of the house basing on the conditions given in this clause. The next is the general nuisance clause. Please make sure you maintain the decorum of the society you are taking a flat in, or the landlord may invoke the general nuisance clause and try to terminate the agreement with you. So you have to make the flat a habitable place for yourself and for your neighbors also. Make sure of that. So that's all about the basics you need to know about the rental agreement. You can get more help from this book called Flat Combat. You can buy it on Amazon, and this link right here will help you out. We at FlatDotTo are always there to get you a good flat, whether you are a student or a bachelor. We'll help you get a place in the new city. This video has been made by me, Mohit Gupta. You can follow me on Twitter at hi_Mohit Gupta. Thank you.